Harinamananda Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dari Yashodanandana Prajajanana Jana Yashodanandana Prajajanana Jana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Dari Yashodanandana Prajajanana Jana Yashodanandana Prajajanana Jana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Kantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Premanande. I'd like to beg the blessings of all Vaishnavas, especially my seniors. Been chanting Hare Krishna longer than I've been alive. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 20, Conversation between Maitreya and Badura, text number 5. Tayo Samvadato Sutta Kavita Hiyamalakataha Apogangai Vagagni Hare Padam Budashaya Tayo Samvadato Sutta Pavita Hiyamalakataha Apogangai Vagagni Hare Padam Bujashaya Tayo Samvadato Sutta Pravito Hiyamalakata Apogangai Vagagni Hare Parambujashaya. Please chant. Samvadato Sutta Praviti Amalakata Apo Ganga Ivagavni Samvadato Sutta word for word. Tayo, while the two, Maitreya and Vidura, Samvadato, were conversing. Sutta or Sutta, Pravitaha arose. He certainly, Amalaha, spotless, Kata, and narrations, Apaha, waters, Gangaha, of the river Ganges, Eva, like, Agagnir, vanquishing all sins, Hare, of the Lord, Paramambuja, of the lotus feet, Ashrayaha, taking shelter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Sonika inquired about the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya. There must have been many narrations of the spotless pastimes of the Lord. The hearing of such narrations is exactly like bathing in the water of the Ganges, for it can free one from all sinful reactions. Purport. The water of the Ganges is purified because it pours forth from the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is as good as the water of the Ganges because it is spoken from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. So it is with any topic on the pastimes of the Lord or the characteristics of His transcendental activities. The Lord is absolute. There is no difference between His words, His perspiration, or His pastimes. The water of the Ganges, the narrations of His pastimes, and the words spoken by Him are all on the absolute platform, and thus taking shelter of any one of them is equally good. Srila Rupa Goswami has enunciated that anything in relationship with Krishna is on the transcendental platform. if we can dovetail all our activities in relationship with Krishna, then we do not stand on the material platform, but always on the spiritual platform. Om Gyan Timanandasya Gyananashalakaya Chakshumnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rokam Varamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Vanchakapataru Vischa Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasiri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's so easy to be on the spiritual platform. Just by having ears, one can have the transcendental sound vibration enter within and be relieved from the pangs of material existence. It says here, one can be free from all sinful reactions. Just hearing. We talk about going back to Godhead. We talk about purifying one's existence from so many lifetimes. All you have to do is just sit. Not even sit, you can even lie down if you wanted to. The ears are always open. The four Kumaras, they were glorifying the process of hearing. That out of all senses, the ears are always open. How much prasadam can you take? We talk about eating your way back to Godhead. Some new bhaktas, some new devotees, they get fired up when they hear this. It's like, wow, I love prasadam so much. How many kofta balls can I eat? Gulab jamun competitions. You hear about the early days. I don't know how many you did, Prabhu. Okay. Okay, what was the record that you've heard? 70. After the feast. Okay, so you had the feast and then there was a gulab jamun competition. 70, right? But still. Oh, a month. Wow. Yeah, transcendental, yes. So those who are supremely transcendental could devour 70 or more gulab jamuns. But if you think about ingesting or imbibing the transcendental sound vibration of the holy name or Krishna Katha, the ears can have unlimited sound going in. There's no end to it. It can just take more and more and more and more. And this is the sign of an advanced devotee. They are greedy for this transcendental sound vibration. Srila Rupa Goswami says, what is this, I only have one tongue. You know, there's so much nectar in the holy name of Krishna. I want millions of tongues. And what is these two ears? They only can pick up a few drops of nectar from this ocean of nectar coming from the chanting of the holy name. Let me have millions and billions of years to catch all that nectar. When I first heard this prayer, I was just thinking of like a person covered in ears or covered in tongues, you know. It's like, wow, that's unique kind of form. But no, this transcendental sound vibration is as good, as purifying as the Ganges. This transcendental river that flows from the outside the universe, throughout the whole heavenly planets, through the earthly planetary system, even down to the hellish planets, just liberating so many people. A river can purify consciousness. This is our science here. And how did this Ganges appear? So we go to the story of Bali Maharaj. The Bhagavatam is always bringing us back to Krishna Katha. And Indra had offended his spiritual master Brihaspati. And due to not having that blessing of the spiritual master, the demons became much stronger. Bali Maharaj, who is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, he got his blessings, the garland. He worshipped the Brahmanas, led by Sukacharya. Sukacharya is a very transcendental personality also. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, Krishna says, at a logician's, I am Ushana, which is Sukacharya. And by that blessing, that had the power to take over the whole universe. There wasn't even a fight. Indra ran away. There's like, that army of Bali Maharaj just took over completely. So now, Bali Maharaj is the ruler of the universe, the ruler of the heavenly planets. And Aditi, the mother of the demigods, was worried about her children, that they have no place in this universe. They've been kicked out. So she prays to the Lord, and the Lord appeared as Vamanadev, a beautiful dwarf brahmachari. All the demigods appeared and gave different gifts, umbrellas, a rod, rudraksha, and the deer skin, just a beautiful brahmachari appeared, and they gave all these gifts. And Aditi prayed that, please help my sons to attain the heavenly planets again. So Vamanadev approaches Bali Maharaj, and this beautiful dwarf brahmachari is there. And everyone's enamored by his beauty. Even the sister of Bali Maharaj, she wanted to breastfeed him. She had that desire. And Bali Maharaj says, oh, my dear Brahman, please come. I'll give you anything. This is like the fame of a Kshatriya, charity, to give in charity. Jarasandha, even a demon, was priding himself on charity. When Krishna, Bhima and Arjuna came in disguise as brahmanas under the say conspiracy of Uddhava, they approached, and he says, yes, my dear brahmanas, whatever you like, you can have. And Jarasandha could see, these are not brahmanas. He could see, like, imagine Bhima dressing. Bhima comes, he's huge, and he's coming as a brahmana. He's got big muscles. He could see, like, from the bow and arrow, there's like cuts on the arms. And he's saying, I think these guys are Kshatriyas. But why would they do something so humiliating as to come and beg charity from me, dressed as brahmanas? Anyway, even if they ask for my own head, I will cut it off and give them. Because that's the pride, your fame lives forever, just like Maharaj Rantideva and Maharaj Shibi. Maharaj Shibi, he was, the king is supposed to protect the prajas, those who are born in that land. And this pigeon was hunted by a hawk. And this pigeon took shelter of the king, King Shibi. And this hawk also came and he says, but I need to eat. I am your praja, we're all your praja, you need to maintain us. He goes, okay, I'll give you my own flesh to the same amount of this pigeon. So then they put a pigeon on one scale and he starts cutting flesh off. And nothing was moving, the pigeon was still heavier. So then he put his whole self on the scale like this. He was ready to give his own self to protect the prajas, to protect this pigeon. And it turned out that they were demigods, Vayu and Agni and Indra. And they blessed him. He was famous forever as someone who gave in charity. So Jarasandha thought the same thing. And now also Bali Maharaj understood that yes, you must give in charity. So my dear Brahmana, dwarf Brahmana, what would you like? Oh, I would just like 3 steps of land. 3 steps of land? What are you talking about? I can give you a whole planet if you want. Why you want 3 steps of land? Vamanadev said, I just need 3 steps of land just to lie down. If I can't be happy with that, what makes you think I'll be satisfied with so much more? And, we see in the media so many celebrities, so many rich people in the billions of dollars, and they have so much. But still, all they have for breakfast is 2 pieces of toast. You can't eat more than that, even if you have $1 billion. So, Bali Maharaj is thinking, you small boy, you don't know which can give you so much. But Sukacharya knew, this is Vishnu. And he told Bali Maharaj, don't give him nothing. This is Vishnu, take it all. And he's worried about his own material benefit because he's like the family guru, He's like, he does the Kamakanda rituals, so then his maintenance is God. So he's like, no, he'll take everything, don't give him, So then Bali Maharaj at that point, he gave so many reasons. He says, it's okay, you don't have to give in charity if this charity will make you poverty-stricken. Or if you haven't said Om, then you don't have to give. You can go back from your promise. But Bali Maharaj, at that point, he rejected his guru. Because he is not advising him in the worship of Vishnu. He's deviating him from the worship of Vishnu. And he says, no, I've given my word. The Kshatriya holds his vow, his word. It's very powerful, this holding one's word. So then he says, yes, I'm going to give him everything. And Sukacharya questions him. He says, if you do this, you go against me, then you'll lose everything. Like that. So then, the Lord was ready to take his 3 steps. And he increases into an enormous form, Trivikram. And with 1 step, he takes half the universe. And with his big toe, he cracks the edge of the universe and all its layers that lead all the way to the causal ocean, the Karana ocean. And then that water seeps through those cracks and then washes the feet of the Supreme Lord, Trivikram. And it said that it washed the saffron from his lotus feet. So some people ask us, like, why do you wear orange? What's that about? So you can say 2 things. You can say, it represents celibacy, so we're celibate and we don't get married. One time, we're doing, I have a camp event and we're going to like country towns. And I met one guy and he just came out of a tattoo parlor. I was doing Harina on my own in Harvey Bay. And he goes, wow, you were like shining on the corner of the street. I go, okay. So I go up to him, he goes, yeah, I'm trying to be more spiritual now. I stopped taking cocaine. Like this. I've had so many parties, I just came out, I got a tattoo. He has many tattoos, but he had tattoos right on his palm and it said, slow down. He goes, yeah, this is like, it's a sign now I made you monk like this. So I show him some books. He goes, he definitely takes some books. He gave me a big donation, so I wish I had more books. And then we're in front of like an adult store. He goes, I haven't been in an adult store for 2 weeks. I better go in. I go, no, you don't have to. But he goes in like this. He comes back out and he goes, yeah, we're going to have a party tonight. I'll go, because I had so many books. And I said, yeah, we'll come through and I have more books for you, because he gave such a great donation. He goes, yeah, come through the party. So, okay, So it turned out one of his friends was sick, so they weren't going to party, I go, we'll come and see you anyway. And we did kirtan. He was like this visual artist, and apparently he was a very prominent visual artist. He done videos for like Metallica, like big rock bands and stuff like this. And we gave him khichdi, and we did kirtan. He was doing artwork. And then he asked, he goes, what's the orange for? He goes, Chaitanya Chandra was with me. And he said, it means we don't get married. He goes, yeah, that's the way, in the mood of like a debauchee, So that's one answer you could give. Another answer is that actually the color of Krishna's feet is saffron. Just like when you see the sun set, it's like sort of purple, it has that orange kind of gradient. And that's Krishna's color. So we always trying to be like that saffron particles at Krishna's feet. And so when the water from the causal ocean washed the feet of the Lord, it came like a saffron color. And that same Ganges we can access now. You just go to India, you go to Mayapur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in that Ganges, the same Ganges there, and had so many pastimes. And you can bathe there too every day. And they built a temple next to it too, and it has a deity of Ganga Devi riding on the crocodile like this. So, this is the appearance of the Ganga, and the demigods, they are so blissful, I was going to say blissed out, blissful, that such mercy has come, so they catch it in buckets called kumbhas, and they pass down the mercy. They want to be part of that. And it's said that the Ganga was traveling at such a speed, and if it was to hit the earth, then it'll destroy the earth. So then Lord Shiva took it upon his own head, the mercy of the Lord, to take the impact of the Ganga. And you can go to that spot, Gangotri, and climb up the Himalayas and be at the entry spot of the Ganga. And this is blessed, and it even goes down to the hellish planets. I think it's called the Bhagavati, they call it. And there, somehow, people just get the mercy in the hellish planets. This is the mercy of the Lord, it's unlimited. And by hearing the unlimited mercy of the Lord, one's heart becomes softened. One feels like, yes, Krishna is a nice guy. Even if he's there in your heart, he knows all your deepest and darkest secrets. But still, he wants to be your friend. He still wants you to come back. He still wants a loving relationship with you. Such a nice, understanding person. Who else should you go to for shelter? Who else should you go to surrender all your love to? So this is what the Bhagavatam is trying to do for us. This is the nectar we're tasting, that someone loves me. We're there in schoolies and all the Christians are there with signs, and we go past and they say, Jesus love you, and we say, yeah, we love Jesus too. Sometimes we say, we love him more than you. So Krishna is so kind that he's always trying to bring us back. He's even so kind that he even talks about himself and how to come back to him in the form of Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita is so nice that one can be so elevated, one can be so intimately connected with the Lord. We talk about the Ganges because it's touched the feet of the Lord, but here we're hearing the nectar coming from the lotus mouth of Krishna. That nectar, the words of Krishna. And I think it's the Gita Mahatmya saying that actually the Gita is more important than the Ganges because of that. You may equate, even though it's all absolute, but the lotus lips of Krishna would be more important than the feet. But we, as humble devotees, we're always going to the feet of the Lord. And there's no difference to anything in relation to Krishna. His words, here it says his perspiration. I was thinking, do you want to associate with someone's perspiration? Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Yes, I want to be, I want to bathe in the sweat of God. Yes, but here it says, yes, we want to intimate. And his pastimes are none different from the Lord. All on the absolute platform. We need to take shelter of them. And my favorite pastime, because the pastimes, they contain the characteristics of the Lord that make you fall in love with him. And my favorite sort of quality of Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. He becomes the Vatsa of the devotee. He becomes like the calf. He likes to uphold the word of the devotee. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you declare boldly, Arjuna, that my devotee never perishes. So why is he saying, Arjuna, you declare? Why didn't he declare himself? Because Krishna, he can sometimes break his promise. But if the devotee promises, he'll uphold it. So then, Bhishma, who's also a pure devotee, and Duryodhana was complaining to Bhishma Dev, Grandsire, you are holding back. You have affection for the Pandavas, that's why you're not fighting to your full capacity. So for a Kshatriya to say that you're holding back, it's like an insult. It's like, how can you say that I'm holding back? I'm Kshatriya, I do my duty, I'm Bhishma here, I hold my vow, the terrible vow. How can you say I'm holding back? Alright, fine, I make another vow. So then he makes 5 arrows. He chants certain mantras into each arrow, and he says, each arrow is for each Pandava, and they will die tomorrow with each arrow. So Duryodhana, he's thinking maybe Bhishma Dev will change his mind. He goes, okay, grandsire, I'll keep those arrows. So when the battlefield of Kurukshetra was taking place, they would only fight during the day. So at night, they would camp, and sometimes they visit each other's camp, and they're like very friendly. Yeah, have something to eat. Yeah, that was a good shot you did there, and kind of like sports. Sports players on the playing field, they're like, I'm gonna kill you, But then, they hang out outside, and they say, oh, that was a good shot there, and that was nice. So chivalry rasa. So Krishna knew about the arrows and told Arjuna, hey, why didn't you go, remember Duryodhana owed you a favor when you saved his life? It's like, oh yeah. So when the Pandavas were in exile, Duryodhana and Karna, his whole associates, they wanted to show off their wealth to the Pandavas, because the Pandavas were living in the forest, they were like paupers. So then they're like, yeah, let's show it off. They had this whole entourage, big parade going on, and they wanted to show it off to the Pandavas. So the Kauravas, they came to this lake, and some Gandharvas said, hey, you can't come here. This is our place, you can't cross any further. And Duryodhana's like, what are you talking about? I'm the emperor. Get out of the way, So then the Gandharvas, they had a fight, and they captured Duryodhana. So word got to Yudhisthira, he was doing some fire sacrifice with Brahmanas. And, Bhima and Arjuna heard the news. Bhima was like, nice, they did the job for us, Duryodhana's caught, he's suffering like anything good. And then Yudhisthira was like, no, Bhima, no. Amongst each other, we may think ourselves as Pandavas and Kauravas, but to the public, we are all Kurus. So, Arjuna and Bhima, you have to go and save Duryodhana. And Bhima's like, oh, no. What? Duryodhana, I have to save him? Yes, you have to save him. But I will not go, because I have to finish this yajna. Oh, man, can you imagine? You don't want to do it, and the person tells you have to do it, he's not going. They had this such, obedience to Yudhisthira Maharaj, because he was their eldest brother. And just like Yudhisthira's vision, we may see that even amongst ourselves in this movement. We may think, oh, those devotees, and this devotee, and this, disciples of this guru or this guru. So you may see separation, but to the public, we're all Haris. We're all the guys that have the halva, the Govindas, and they see us all as one group. So it's quite interesting vision of Yudhisthira Maharaj. So then Arjuna goes to fight the Gandharvas, and they try to take Duryodhana up to the sky, and then Arjuna, he shoots a certain arrow, chants a mantra, and then there's a whole net, they can't get any higher, and he defeats the Gandharvas, and he says, let Duryodhana go. And they let him go. Actually, Gandharvas were sent by Indra, which is the father of Arjuna, because we're just trying to help you. No, let him go. So then Duryodhana's like, embarrassed. He goes, okay, Arjuna, what do you want? And then Arjuna says, okay, that favor, I'll ask you later. So now we're in the battlefield, Kurukshetra. Krishna says, hey, go to Duryodhana, ask the favor, take those arrows. So then he comes to the camp of Duryodhana. Duryodhana says to Arjuna, welcome Arjuna. So, you want the kingdom without a fight? We'll give it to you. He goes, no. Remember, I want those 5 arrows. And then Duryodhana, even as a Kshatriya, he's a man of his word. When he says, I owe you, okay. And he gave the arrows. And Duryodhana's like, Krishna. He's always doing something to us. So he goes back to Bhishma Dev. He goes, look, Arjuna took the arrows because of Krishna. Now, what are you going to do? He goes, okay. Bhishma says, either Krishna breaks his promise not to pick up a weapon and fight, or Arjuna dies tomorrow. So Krishna has to keep Bhishma's promise and Arjuna's promise. And Bhishma's fighting the next day. He says his bow is in a full circle and he's cleaning house, These arrows are like nuclear bombs pretty much, So you can imagine just all these bombs going up. Pow, 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 pow. And the whole Pandava army is getting cleaned up. And then he's like defeating Arjuna. He's about to die. So what does Krishna do? He jumps off the chariot. He runs at great speed toward Bhishma Dev like a lion. And then Arjuna's like, no, my lord, your promise, don't break your promise. And you've probably seen the picture. He's like, Krishna, he picks up a chariot wheel. He says his top cloth fell off in this perspiration mixed with the dust from the battlefield, and he's going like a lion towards Bhishma Dev. And then Bhishma Dev, he fires arrows at the Lord. He goes, come at me, lotus-eyed one. This. And it pierced the body of the Lord. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments on this, that the Lord received these arrows just like a fiancé bites the lover. So they're like love bites for Krishna. This shivery rasa. So he's like, come at me, oh lotus-eyed one. And then he was ready to be killed by Krishna, but he was completely satisfied. Krishna broke his promise. And to keep the promise of Arjuna and Bhishma Dev. So now also Prabhupada, he also made a promise. He said, Brahma Chu, if the pure devotee makes the promise, the vow, that just like when Lord Brahma promised Hiranyakashipu that you won't die this way, that way, that way, the Lord will upkeep that promise. And then he still did it, instead of killing him on the ground, the sky, he kept him on the lap, inside, outside, on the balcony sort of thing. Day or night, dusk, no animal, human, half man, half human, no weapon or something dead or alive. So he used the nails which are not dead or alive, and they're not a weapon. So you can see, God is so smart. He just kept it all going and still killed Hiranyakashipu. So then, if the pure devotee says you chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles, you'll go back to Godhead in this lifetime, then you must go back. And this is the mercy of the Lord, that to always make sure He never does anything for our suffering. He only does anything that He does is only for our progress towards eternal happiness, to the spiritual platform. This is what the Bhagavatam is trying to reveal to us, that Krishna is the most amazing person, that we should fall in love with Him. So I'll stop here. If there's any comments or questions, you may ask. Yes, bro. Yeah.
Didn't when Krishna ran at or charged at Bhishma Dev, Arjuna got an opportunity to fire his arrows. He fired a lot of arrows, and they went through Bhishma, and he was lying on a bed of arrows, and then Krishna spent some time with him, because Bhishma had a boon where he could decide when to leave his body.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of two. So then there was Shakandi, who was originally a woman, and Bhishma Dev, he gave blessings. Like Arjuna shot arrows before the battle at the feet of Dronacharya and Bhishma Dev. And Dronacharya, he begged the blessing, like, please teach me how to defeat you. And Dronacharya said, oh, if I find out my son dies, then I'll stop fighting. And then Bhishma Dev says, I will not fight a woman. So Shakandi was actually originally a woman. And so they put Shakandi in front, and then Arjuna is fighting from behind. And that's how he got filled with so many arrows. So there were so many arrows in him, he could not put 2 fingers between the arrows. Yeah. So Bhishma Dev is powerful. And he gave a whole, the Pandavas came at the end of the battle and he gave a whole Bhagavatam class, on Dharma, yes. Maybe you know the details much better, Prabhu.
That's more or less the story.
Yes.
Bhishma, he was speaking for some months, actually.
Some months?
Yeah, waiting until the sun was in, I think, the north or something. There was some planetary arrangement. Auspicious time. Leaving in the light fortnight, yeah. There was some arrangement. But I was just thinking, you're mentioning that, VIP celebrities, they have so much wealth and opulence, but there's only so much they can enjoy. So I was remembering Prabhav in Melbourne, Prabhupada disciple, when he was a young devotee, he was growing up living in Calcutta temple. So back in the 70s, it was a pretty austere sort of temple. And in the bathroom, you turn on the tap and the water just dribbles out. That was just Calcutta water pressure, just dribbles out. So sometimes the devotees would get invited by life members to their house for programs, and some of these life members very wealthy. And so Prabhav, he remembers he went into the bathroom, it was all marble and all the taps, everything all gold plated. He turns on the tap and the water just dribbles out still. So what to do?
Yes. Anyone else? The ladies? Yes.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. You were mentioning about vows, that the vow for the Kshatriya is the honor of his word is so powerful. So can you give us some tips and some talk about how we can keep our vows? Because sometimes we may follow externally, but then there's subtle, the quality is not there in following our vows. So can you give some tips?
These vows are a shelter that will help purify us. So there'll be moments where we don't feel like following such vows. And this is when we can actually really please Krishna. It's just like the marriage vows are there. And for a man, he may be tempted to be unfaithful, maybe at the workplace or something like that. But then he thinks, no, I have a family, I have a wife and I made these vows, we did this whole ceremony, samskara, and if it's India, it's 7 days with an elephant or a horse, So it really means something, hits hard. And similarly, we have initiation vows. And actually, initiation, you don't need a fire yagya, you just get a name and the mantra, and that's it. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would initiate on the train, like this. But this fire yagya is there to put an impression. So actually these vows, especially for a disciple to the spiritual master, is our life and soul. And actually one should always be meditating on such instructions. and reminding oneself, how am I going to execute this instruction? Because it's coming directly from Krishna, actually. And this is the exact way that Krishna wants us to love him. And sometimes we may deviate from it. Maybe the rounds we miss 1 or 2 days, but we just jump back into it. And Krishna will just reinstate you. There's no need for like certain atonements or like punishment or something like that. So that needs to be there. But I mean, in terms of like vows of initiation and instruction from the spiritual master, it's pretty much our ticket back to Godhead. You know, it's like you're throwing away billions of dollars if you give up these vows. So, and also at initiating, the spiritual master also makes the vow that he'll take you back to Godhead whether you like it or not. So we might as well make it easier for him. I did a whole class on it. I think it's a very deep subject, but because the clapping went on, I won't go on. It's okay. If you want, we can talk later as well. Hare Krishna, Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.